So I talked about the Lakers as a whole not long ago, and I did mention this specific thing a little bit, but I want to take a whole video to talk about it because Brandon Ingram fascinates me as a player. 7-footer who can do a lot of stuff, definitely needs more time to refine his skills, but we all see the potential with this kid, right? I mean, I think in his prime he could probably average about 5 to 6 assists, probably 7 to 10 rebounds, and hoping that his ball handling and his shot improve a little bit more, can be a pretty damn good scorer. Probably not as good as we thought he was going to be coming out of Duke, but still pretty damn solid. Well, LeBron James happens, and now it's win now mode, and the guys who are cool with playing off the ball and shooting threes like Josh Hart and Kuzma are playing better next to LeBron than Ingram is, because Ingram needs the ball a little bit more and all that stuff. This has all been talked about a million times. What I'm going to attempt to do is give my take on how you can fix this, right? Because if you look at the lineups, there's a lot of lineups where Ingram is in with LeBron, and it's like a not bad lineup. It's like +2, +3, and then he leaves, and then one of these other guys comes in, like Hart or Kuzma, and then it jumps up to like +12, +13, that kind of thing. So what can we do? Well, number one, actually, before I go into all that, I want to appreciate Ingram's defense a little bit. The Lakers are about 4 points worse per 100 possessions defensively since Ingram got hurt at the beginning of December. I don't think that's all just him. Like, I wouldn't consider him to be one of the best defenders in the league, but he's definitely good, and given his size, I think he makes an impact for them. Now, they did lose JaVale last night, and that was a big reason they lost, but, I think Ingram's defense should still be mentioned here. But anyway, as far as the offense, I think it's going to require some push and pull from 3 people. Ingram, Luke Walton, and yes, LeBron James, okay? Number one, if we look at Ingram, I think he could be a little bit more aggressive in certain situations. Number one, he's getting 0.7 offensive rebounds a game. Given that he is 7 feet tall, or at least 6'11", and while he's not a blistering athlete, he's pretty okay, I feel like he can probably grab about 2 offensive boards a game, kind of by existing. Now, you could argue that he would rather play transition defense because he can be pretty damn effective there, but I think he could at least have a couple extra possessions where he just attacks the boards a little bit more. I think he could find some success there. I think a few extra possessions where he's just cutting to the rim. Granted, the paint is not always going to be open because you got Tyson and McGee in there, and also LeBron draws the defense in like crazy. But I do think you could at least have 1 or 2 extra plays where he cuts to the rim, and you could find some success off of that. Also, perhaps trusting his three-pointer a little bit more. I mean, it's clearly not a natural thing for him, but I think his form looks pretty all right. But when you watch him out there, sometimes he'll just take a step in when he gets the ball. Sometimes he'll kind of linger from around 17 feet rather than all the way out to the three-point line. Sometimes he will hesitate on a three-pointer, pass it off to somebody else, whatever it may be. I'm not saying jack up 5 a game, but just jack up 1 or 2 more. That seems to be the theme, 1 or 2 more of this. Because again, I don't think it's a disaster between LeBron and Ingram, but there needs to be little adjustments. So that's number 1. Number 2, if we talk about Luke, I think he's got to get a little more creative with getting Ingram the ball. Now, he did have some Iverson cuts in one game that I saw before Ingram got hurt. I thought that was pretty good. Nice way to get him some extra touches. But I think one thing you could run with Ingram is you could have him try to get some post-ups and force a switch beforehand. So you could start him in the corner and then have like Lonzo or somebody set a screen for him and then come baseline. And I mean, that's kind of something that like Popovich will run with Aldridge, and sometimes it results in a switch. So you could get Ingram like a point guard on him, or whoever the smallest defender is on the opposing team. I think that could work. I think you could also at times have someone who has a smaller defender on them set a screen for Ingram, and maybe they'll switch that. I think you could also have Ingram set some screens sometimes. Just doing a whole lot of off-ball stuff. I mean, given his size and all that, I think Ingram could be an amazing off-ball player if he really embraced it, and if Luke was a little more creative with it. And I also think you could play Ingram more when LeBron is not in the game to give him a few more opportunities to get his offense going. I also think once Rondo comes back, you could do some Rondo-Ingram lineups, and that might be a chance for Ingram to really get going, or hell, just Lonzo and Ingram lineups. you would still need shooting in there, to be fair. I mean, between Kuzma and Hart and maybe one other guy, or if KCP can get it going, there's that. Or Shvi McCulloch, my guy, who's been looking a little better lately. But the other thing is, I think it's going to require some adjustment from LeBron, and this one may be the toughest one, because we saw in Miami, Chris Bosh had to figure it out. In Cleveland, Kevin Love had to figure it out. I mean, sure, LeBron might help you out 3% of the way, but it's still going to be LeBron ball. And the thing is, LeBron ball works, even if it means some dude's feelings may get a little hurt along the way, right? I mean, you watch these Laker games, and in the fourth quarter, there are definitely times when the offense is slow as hell. LeBron is walking the ball up. Everybody's got to stand in the, one guy in each corner, one dude on the wing, and one dude wherever the hell he is. And it's watch LeBron, right? And there's just got to be moments when LeBron is content with giving the ball off to Ingram when he's got that switch, or letting Ingram bring it up floor himself sometimes. I mean, I would ask LeBron to set screens, but it's not going to happen. I know that. At least on-ball screens. He might set a couple off-ball ones. But if I can go back to Luke has to give LeBron a reason to give the ball to Ingram, right? Because if all you do is tell LeBron, hey, just give the ball to Ingram more, he's not going to do that. But if Luke is able to put Ingram in positions where he is probably the best offensive option because he's got a small dude on him, then LeBron will dump the ball to Ingram and make some stuff happen. So that's going to have to be the relationship between Luke and LeBron. And I mean, this is something that's been talked about a lot. Can Luke Walton coach this team? Can he coach LeBron? And I don't know. I think up to this point, I mean, there was already one rumor out there that LeBron's making the play calls, which to be honest, I'm totally fine with. But it's these type of things that are going to be very interesting. I mean, I think if we remember the last 2 years in Cleveland, LeBron did dump the ball off to Kevin Love in the post a couple more times a game. At least it seemed like he did. I don't know. But again, if you're Luke, you gotta get Ingram those mismatches and stuff. So that's basically all I got for you. It's gonna require a little bit of something from each of these three dudes. Luke can get a little bit more creative, Ingram get a little more aggressive, LeBron be content with not having the ball for 95% of the game. And what's going to happen if all three of those things happen? Well, I think it'll result in Ingram and LeBron being a little better together. But at the same time, there are no guarantees here. So is there a chance that this just continues to not go poorly, but not go that well either? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. You could argue that while Chris Bosh and Kevin Love figured it out, Ingram is not as good offensively as those guys were. And those two were also veterans at the time that they started playing with LeBron, so perhaps they were a little more content with understanding what needed to be done. And I mean, to be fair, Ingram was content with coming off the bench his rookie season, and he's always seemed like a team-first kind of guy just watching him. Sure, he might attempt the occasional dumb layup, but for the most part, it seems like he is content with not taking over. So yeah, I think I end up being on the optimistic side of this, while also recognizing it may not fix itself. So yeah, that's my take on this whole thing.